there should only be one man in the corner. There shouldn't be 3 and 4.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, because that's something that I always listen to the corners in between the rounds. I don't care about betting odds. Yeah. I want to listen to what the coaches are saying. And I saw what I would describe as chaos and confusion. I've seen it with Dillian White when he fought Povetkin. I saw it with Anthony Joshua when he fought Usyk as well. Too many voices. You're the coach. You get it more than I do.
I do get it. You know, some can be too emotional in the corner. It can be a family member. And of course, you know, you've got to detach yourself because you've got to give precise, clear information. Look, I've always said I can't be brought in boxing and fighting. Yeah? If somebody on in the corner, I'll say, shut your fucking mouth now or get out the back. You know, it's happened before. Oh. I'm not having anything going on in that corner. You're a bucket man. You wash the gum shield out. Yeah? You wipe his head down. Do not speak. That's their instruction. And if they speak, automatically when they get back to the dressing room, they're sacked on the spot.
Videos in the description box. Sub to the channel. Check the video out. It's trending now. Big up October Red. Shots fired. He didn't want to say his brother directly screwed it up, but he laid it down. He laid it down. He knows that John undermined Sugar Hill in that corner. John still hasn't surfaced after May the 18th, hasn't surfaced, can't face social media, can't face the public. Thinking about it now, Peter was the man who guided him to that world title win against Klitschko. They split while Tyson was on the sidelines, unfit to fight. And you have to wonder if John influenced Tyson's decision and pushed Peter out. Because remember, they fell out. I believe when Peter and Huey must have visited David Hayes' gym and they fell out. Yeah, you have to wonder if John didn't push Peter out. Like he pushed Ben Davison out. Like he was trying to push Sugar Hill out.
Greatest fight of the 21st century. Greatest heavyweight fight of the 21st century.
Right, the last one from myself. Peter Fury, obviously uncle to Tyson's, talked about the fight finally, and he said, look, he felt like the game plan was wrong and maybe there was a bit too many voices in that corner for his liking. Did you see that? Have you seen the clips online?
Look, you know what? I don't read a lot of this stuff online because, you know, there's some genuine people on there and there's some idiots on there, or people I don't agree with because they're idiots. But the bottom line of it is the fight's over. All you can do is look back at the fight and say, what should I have done different? And you adjust maybe your tactics, other things if you need to do them. That's what needs to happen. Enough's been said about what happened outside the ring. What happened inside the ring was a brilliant fight.
Frank is not going to let us know the full extent of what conversations may have took place between him and Bob Arum, between him and Team Tyson. And he's obviously not trying to make a bad situation worse by airing out all the dirty laundry. But I'm sure he and Bob Arum, members of Queensbury Top Rank, TNT, have had discussions. And behind the scenes, how are the discussions going? Is it just a simple, let's get rid of John? Maybe Tyson doesn't feel comfortable about that and Sugar Hill is sacrificed. Maybe Sugar Hill walks without being told to. The easy way out is to sacrifice Sugar Hill so you don't upset John and perhaps Tyson. The real thing to do, from where I'm standing, is get John out of there and let Sugar Hill do his job. In all truth, if John has any dignity left or sense of awareness, he would just walk himself, wouldn't he? You know what I mean? Or at least just play the back in a different capacity rather than trying to be frontline chief second.
Well, the biggest puncher, I feel, at 135 will probably be Gervonta Tank Davis. Mm-hmm. But the most skillful fighter at 135 will be hands down Shakur Stevenson.
No love lost between Tank and Floyd these days.
Analyze what I thought to cross. Ain't no love lost.
Although in fairness, what else was he going to say? He said Tank is the better puncher, Shakur is the better boxer. And a lot of people are taking that Floyd is saying Shakur would win a fight. I'm not 100% sure that's what Floyd is actually saying. Obviously, if he was still working with Gervonta, he wouldn't say Shakur was a better boxer. He wouldn't. But he's bound to get back to Tank and wind him up. But the question is who would prevail in that battle at 135? Shakur the boxer or Tank the puncher? It's a lot to ask for Shakur not to make a mistake. Tank could capitalise on and put his lights out. But you could also see Shakur making Tank look like a bit of a plodder. possibly outpointing him in not a very exciting manner, but scoring more scoring punches. Be a great fight. Be really a great fight for American boxing if that one happened. If anything good could come out of Tank and Floyd going back and forth, would be perhaps if Floyd could goad him into taking a Shakur or a Lomachenko fight. Maybe Floyd's the only person who could push him into a fight like that to try and prove himself and prove Floyd wrong.
On the 16th of May, the WBO were informed by Anthony Yarde that he would be withdrawing from the negotiations for the Buatsi purse bid. The WBO has now ordered the purse bids for June 7th and given Yarde a 72-hour deadline to confirm whether he wants to be in that or not.
Well, I hope he doesn't withdraw, in those next 72 hours. It'd be crazy to withdraw. It's a fight everybody wants to see. It's a fight we desperately tried to make, but we couldn't make it because the expectation levels of what the purses were being asked for by his management. We've offered him other fights. We offered him Callum Smith at Wembley. We've offered him for the Bivol fight out here, which Lyndon Arthur. So he's been offered fights, career highest purses. I'm not going to keep saying it, I like him, but I do like him. I have a lot of time for him. I was very, very upset about it, but I'm telling him now, and he's probably got his own views, and it's up to him. He's the guy getting in the ring, taking the punches. He is being advised badly. I'm very disappointed how this has turned out. He's been advised very, very badly as to what he should be doing with his career. And he's going to regret this in years to come. He will do, I promise you. I hope he doesn't, but I promise you that's how it's going to be if this continues as it continues. He should not withdraw. And you know what happens with a purse bid? You find out your true worth. And maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe someone will come in and pay him £5 million. I doubt it, but maybe they will.
If they don't go ahead with that, where does that leave Anthony Yarde?
He should ask his management. No one's listening to me.
So he was offered the Callum Smith fight at Wembley. Now there was speculation a couple of months back that Smith versus Yarde could have been on the 5 versus 5, scheduled for this Saturday. I'm assuming Warren means Wembley Arena. Obviously the Bivol fight in Saudi Arabia, you could have had that. That went to Lyndon Arthur. Is Frank saying they want £5 million a fight? See, they're big purses. They are big purses. And he is an entertaining fighter, but his biggest win is Lyndon Arthur, and that's one apiece. He's had 2 efforts at winning world titles, and he hasn't brought the belt home. So, would it be fair to say that the demands could be argued to be unrealistic? And the reality is, the purse bid, like Frank Warren says, will tell you what your market value is. They don't pay the likes of an Anthony Joshua the money they pay him because they like his smile. They get a return on the gate, and at box office, they get a return. He could have got the Craig Richards fight over Willie Hutchinson. So that's 4 opponents that Frank has got him. These are top-level light heavyweight fights. And if we look at the going rate at light heavy, Yarde got about 300,000 for the Beterbiev fight. Beterbiev maybe 500, 600. Beterbiev got 2.1 for his last defense against Callum Smith. The only light heavy who's probably made any big purses in recent years is Dimitri Bivol. And that's because he's fighting in Saudi Arabia. Everyone's entitled to ask their asking price. But I would like to know what they're basing a £5 million purse, what they're basing that on. Outside the Saudi money, there's few boxers who can generate $5 million purses. Anui's not getting $5 million in Japan. When he goes over to Wembley Stadium on the undercard of AJ in September, he'll get 10, but he's not making $5 million purses. He's making 2 to 3 million, which is excellent money. Then the other question, is Anthony Yarde up for the fights? Is he actually up for them? Does he really want the fights? Is he confident he can win these fights? It's a fair question. Gustavo Daniel Lemus, the Argentinian, was a controversial loser in April to leading contender Richardson Hitchens at 140 in what was an eliminator for the IBF title. But at least he's salvaged something out of the loss. He's signed with Top Rank. Very exciting fighter. A lot better than I thought. I was disappointed with Matchroom and Richardson that they didn't offer this guy an immediate rematch, considering the controversy of the scoring. And maybe that's a fight that Bob Arum and Eddie will have to look at making. Alexander Usyk became undisputed champion on the 18th of May. He put in a request for the IBF to give him an exception and not take away his strap. The IBF have decided to let him keep the belt and go through with the Tyson Fury rematch as undisputed champion for the proposed 21st of December date. So when Daniel Dubois fights Filip Hrgovic on Saturday, it will be for the interim IBF title. There's also Anthony Joshua, 21st of September, Wembley Stadium. Does he really fight the winner of Dubois and Hrgovic if Wilder knocks out Zhang? Doubt it very much. Has to be Wilder. Has to be.
5v5 Matchroom versus Queensberry. I think this is the first time in history something's happening like this. Tomorrow night, it's going down live on DAZN. Make sure you check it out. I'm Team Matchroom, of course. Let's go. And yeah, fuck up them Queensberry boys. Pussies.
The second time, I wanted to say what Ishe Smith said, but I couldn't put the words together like he said it. So he says here, so let me get this straight in regards to Ryan Garcia's positive Ostarine test. The supplements were positive for Ostarine, so that's claiming contamination, but your hair follicle test was negative for Ostarine. So now you're basically admitting the hair follicle test was bullshit. And he continually has been sinking ships with his observations. You've got people coming up saying Ryan Garcia is clear. Ryan Garcia claims testing of supplements proves contamination. The only people who are claiming he's cleared are his solicitors himself, his fans. But VADA haven't cleared him for anything, apart from the nandrolone. Like, where does it say that VADA approved the hair follicle tests? They're just throwing everything at the wall, hoping to make something stick. It's the most ridiculous attempt at damage control ever. When it comes to quoting actual protocol law from VADA, like to gain a no-fault ruling or a ruling of contamination, testing authorities are not going to accept open containers. And yes, Victor Conte has a torrid past, he does. But what he's saying is accurate here. The New York State Athletic Commission will not accept those results from a container that's been opened. You need a sealed container that hasn't been used of the supplements that you've been using. You should also send your supplement that you've bought before you use it to get tested. If you want to be meticulous and avoid contamination, send it off first. It's not like guys like Ryan fight 4 times a year. He's got enough downtime to sort his supplements out before he goes into camp. Get them tested. Athletes should be very cautious about the use of any dietary supplements, as various studies have shown dietary supplements may contain small amounts of banned substances, even when those substances are not listed on the label. Athletes are strictly liable for any substance found in their bodily specimen, regardless of how the substance got there. Athletes have been found guilty of a doping violation after consuming a dietary supplement that contained a trace amount of a banned substance, even though the label did not mention any prohibited substances and the athletes had no intention of doping. Although VADA may in discretion review a list of supplements provided by a participating athlete for red flag substances, VADA does not and cannot endorse or approve the use of any supplements regardless of the fact that an athlete may have disclosed use of the supplement to VADA. In other words, a doping violation will have occurred even if the relevant prohibited substance can be traced to a supplement product that was disclosed to VADA by the athlete. Athletes can protect themselves by avoiding any supplement products altogether, especially those that have been tested and certified drug-free by a qualified outside organization. In other words, strict liability.
Case closed.
I mean, I do see a lot across social media of they should have done this years ago, you know, this would have been... But also, don't forget, British boxing is where it is because me and Frank, Matchroom and Queensberry, have worked our proverbials off to fight each other. And in doing so, have created all these big shows, all these big nights, all these big fights, all these big purses to beat each other, you know? So now there's other benefits of working together and it is great for boxing, but, you know, we wouldn't be where we are both respectively without that hunger and that desire to win. And that brings us to Saturday.
So what Eddie Hearn was saying was, if him and Frank had started working together before what's happening in Saudi Arabia currently, perhaps the competitive edge that has took us to this point wouldn't be there. Because sometimes complacency can set in. If you've got a monopoly, like Frank Warren and Matchroom had a monopoly, dominating British boxing, well, sometimes, because you've got the monopoly, you get lazy. You don't go all out, because there's no need to. You're not being pushed. First, you have that competition with yourself to better yourself. So Eddie's thinking, all right, we done 80,000 Froch Groves in 2014. 2017, with AJ and Klitschko, we're doing 90,000. We're doing 70,000 at the Millennium, another 60,000 here, another 70 wherever. Then Frank at Queensbury sees that. Fury is now WBC champion. AJ ain't got a belt. We're going to do 96,000 at Wembley against Dillian. To my American brothers and sisters, don't take this the wrong way when I point this stuff out. I'm always coming from a point of being pragmatic. So in America, when you look at the underlying issues they have, like the PBC is falling apart. How much PBC fighters has Eddie signed in the last 2 years? The likes of Jahan Ingram desperate to get out. And while it would be easy to point out they don't have no De La Hoyas, Mexican-American, Mayweather's African-American, who are doing them huge pay-per-view numbers, it's easy to say, okay, well, they don't have the same level of fighter. That may be true, but is that really necessary? You need a good promoter. So while the fans say, oh, it was great when Muhammad Ali was champion, when you had Hagler, Hearns, Leonard, Duran, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, the glory days. We need to replace the stars. You also need to recreate the promoters and the other figureheads who are very important. The American promoters and business people who took it to casino culture, you know, from the Hilton to Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas, King, Aram, Butch Lewis, your man Donald Trump, mid-80s with Mike Tyson, took it to Atlantic City, Trump Plaza. The casino culture, I won't say took over, from let's start in New York, Yankee Stadium, MSG, go to Cali, the Forum, Philly, Spectrum, New Horizon. But casino culture became the shit. It really injected a lot of money into the sport. It's not just the pugilists. You've got to develop events. I've said that all along, and some people look at it like, oh, that's casual, that's casual. No, you think very one-dimensionally. Why do you think Don King deliberately let his hair grow upwards like that? He was told to do that, so he stands out. Why do you think Butch Lewis wore the tuxedo without no shirt? To stand out. Leroy Neiman painting pictures of the event from ringside. Them Latin horns you would hear while the fight was in progress. People take them things away, as well as the punches that are being thrown. It's as simple as that. And America hasn't replaced the Don King. They haven't replaced the Bob Arum. And they eventually will. America have always been great at selling boxing, or selling most things on another level where others can't compete. It's got to keep that real. But, you know, DiBella's turned into a whinge bag. Eddie Hearn turned into a little whinge bag crying baby. Demetrius Salita, he's trying. And there's a few others. Al Heyman just gets stooges in there to circumvent the Muhammad Ali Act. Lou DiBella, Tom Brown. Floyd is more concerned about promoting his own fights. I would expand on it, but I've got to cut this short. I've got to get ready to watch the 5 versus 5